Hello. Today we are going to be doing an art project that is inspired by Earth Day, but can really be done at any time of the year for any reason. And we are going to be using some objects that would typically be recycled and make some art out of them. So that's another way of recycling, by reusing something to create something new. So the only thing that's not really recycled is the canvas. So yours might be a different size, that's okay, but this is the canvas that I'm using. And what I'm gonna do is I have some Elmer's glue, that's just regular old white glue, and I have it in a cup. And I also have a sponge brush. So I'm gonna use the sponge brush to take my glue and I'm gonna spread it all over my canvas, but thin, and I wanna keep it pretty even. Not too much glue and not too little glue. And try to cover it the best I can. And this is something that can be a little messy, so you might want to have something under you on your workspace. Luckily, this is my art desk, so if I get some glue on my desk, I won't be mad, because I've gotten all kinds of art supplies on it at this point. And with your sponge brush, you're able to cover a lot of area. Now, one tip with these brushes, especially if you're using glue, if you ever want to be able to use this again, I would highly suggest soaking it in water right away. Just even put it in a cup of water and that'll rinse the glue out, because otherwise it'll dry up and harden and it won't work so well anymore. So now, while my glue is still wet, I already went and tore up some newspaper pieces, but you can use newspaper, you can use magazine, you can use tissue paper, anything that comes in the mail that you would normally just chuck right in the recycling. And I'm gonna find maybe some parts of it that I like, and I'm just gonna start placing them down on my canvas. It's okay if things overlap, or if they go off the edge of the canvas, you can always cut that off later. Not a big deal. I like that this has a big area of blue on it, so I'm gonna stick that right there. And you might wanna think about color. You might wanna have all black and white. It is up to you. This project gives you lots of options. And if you have any open spaces, that's also okay, because we're going to do something on top of the newspaper also. So we have a few things going on. And if you happen to be overlapping and things aren't sticking because you only have that one layer of glue, you can always take the brush and add some more, add it on top, because Elmer's glue dries clear. So no matter what, if you put it on top of your newspaper, it's always going to dry clear, and you'll be able to see what's on the newspaper underneath. You can go over all of it if you want. It'll help it stay. I'm just gonna keep trying to fill it in mostly. You can tear the pieces, like see I'm ripping it up to fit in certain areas, fill them in. It's like a collage. If anyone's ever done a collage, you usually use different pieces of magazine paper. Put that there. I'm gonna put some more glue on top because I like the layered look. There is really no wrong answer or wrong way to do this. And like I said, if you get a little messy, it's okay. everything we're using is washable, so you can wash your hands after. Probably going to want to, because you're going to get some paint on your hands, some glue. But that is just part of art making. And I don't know about you guys, but I recycle just about everything I possibly can. And I also, just like this, I use things that would be recycled to create art. I've used cardboard before as a canvas to paint on, like a nice piece of cardboard from a box. You can use that as a painting surface, or oil pastels and other things. So you're, instead of recycling it, you're kind of upcycling it into a new piece of artwork. So I'm almost done here covering up. I'm just gonna add a little bit more glue. And if I go too fast for you, if what I'm doing is quicker than the rate that you're going at, maybe your canvas is a little larger, you can always pause and get yourself ready, finished, and then move on to the next step. So I pretty much covered my canvas with newspaper. I like it like that. I think it's good. There are some open spaces, but I don't mind that. I like the open spaces because it gives some contrast between the newspaper and what I'm going to do next. So I'm gonna close up my glue, and it'll dry pretty quickly, the Elmer's glue. I'm gonna set aside my canvas for a bit, and I am going to pour out some paint. Now, the type of paint that we are using is called tempera paint, and tempera paint is washable. So if it gets on your clothes, if that's something you don't like, don't worry, it will come out. If it gets on your hands, your hair, wherever it gets, it will come out. That's why we are using washable. You can use acrylic paint. Acrylic isn't as washable. If you get it quickly, it'll come out. But if it sits on your clothes too long, it doesn't. So that's why I like, in this case, to use tempera paint. Because then you don't really have to worry. So if you guys can see, I'm pouring it on. This is called palette paper. You can also use wax paper. You could use a paper plate, or you can just pour it directly onto a piece of newspaper that you have under your work, and that would be perfectly fine. Whatever you have to put it on. You don't need a fancy palette because we are not doing fancy painting. We are actually doing what is called abstract art today. And abstract art is art that doesn't have a purpose of looking like something specific. It is more focused on the colors and the shapes, maybe movement on the canvas, the way that it looks to move, but it's not like supposed to look like anything. So don't worry. That, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer with this project. Everybody's project will come out different, and they'll all be great because it's abstract art. So remember, I said we're using some recycled objects in order to paint. So I have some stuff from my own recycling. I have a soda can. I found this paper towel tube. This is root beer. I love root beer. This is a root beer bottle. This is from a jar of salsa. And I also cut a piece of cardboard. I bet a lot of you have cardboard boxes around because everyone orders things online, right? So I have my paint poured out. I have my recycled objects. What I'm going to do is use those objects to make different shapes on my canvas. So I think I'm gonna start with my soda can, and what I'm gonna do is I wanna put it in my pink paint here, and you can use whatever colors that you like on your project. That's the thing about this. No two projects are going to look the same. So I'm basically dipping it in the pink because what I really want to do is get a nice circle. I think I got it. So if you see, it's covered in pink. And now I'm going to take that, and it's almost like a stamp. You can choose wherever you want to put it. I'm going to put it on my canvas. And you can see right there, I now have a cool pink circle. And you know what? I still have some paint, so I'm gonna make some more of those. Until I run out of paint, why not? I'm gonna overlap a little bit, because I think that looks cool. And I'm out. And let's say you wanted to use that can for another color. All you have to do is give it a quick rinse under the sink, and then you could easily use that again. Now, I think I'm gonna use the root beer bottle, because what's cool with the root beer bottle is I can use the bottom, or I can also use the top. And I wanna use the top because I want a smaller circle than the one that I did with the soda can. And I think I'm just going with my gut here. I want to do yellow. So I'm going to put my root beer, dip it right into that yellow paint, and see, I got some on there. Oh, missed a spot, so let me dip it again, because I want to get the full circle. Now I'm gonna start making some yellow circles. Oh, it makes a fun sound when I do that. Now I'm gonna make one right inside one of my pink circles. Because why not? Again, I'm gonna overlap some of them. It's cool, it's kind of like a link. And then you know what? I use the top, I'm gonna use the bottom. Let me use the bottom of my root beer bottle. And I have this kind of neon reddish color that I'm trying to spread out a little bit here so I can get, it's not exactly a circle, but that's all right. If you get a little too much paint, you can always take some of it off on whatever you're using, the paper plate or newspaper. So now I'm gonna stamp the bottom of the root beer bottle. Ooh, I like how that came out. Let me hold that up. So since I got some in the middle, that looks pretty cool. And the root beer bottle has a little pattern around the ring, so I'm kind of getting that from putting it down. So I'm gonna make a bunch of those. Let me try dipping it again. You can always go back for more paint if you need it. And you guys can share. Let's say you make something like a can that has green paint on it and someone else likes that idea, pass it on over. So I'm trying to cover not all the newspaper. You don't have to have the newspaper completely covered up. I like a little bit of it showing through. But that's just the background of our abstract art. So I did my root beer bottle. I did the top and the bottom. I'm going to try this. And what's cool with the paper towel tube, it could be round, it could be a circle, but I've already done a bunch of circles. So I think I'm going to crease it a little bit, push it down so that it's gonna be more like an oval shape or like a diamond when I put it down. So I'm going to use the orange paint because I haven't used that yet, and I put that down on my piece of palette paper. I'm just trying to get all of the edges. And so that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to try that out. Ooh, I like how that looks. It almost looks like an eye. See, it's right there, my orange. So I'm gonna do a few of those. I like that, the orange eye. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am using all warm colors. Now, the reason why I chose to do that, warm colors are the colors reds, oranges, yellows. The reason I chose to do all warm colors is if they mix together, they'll look okay. They won't make a weird brown or what some people might call an ugly color. So that's why I chose to stay in that color family. You can also do cool colors. The cool colors are blues, greens, purples, and if you mix those together, they won't really make any ugly colors. You could also, for Earth Day, you can do just blue and green if you want. That could look really cool. I really like how my abstract art is coming along. So I'm gonna finish with my tube, although if you wanted to, you could use the other side in a different color. I really wanna use this cardboard strip because the cool thing is since I cut this, I can bend it and really make any shape I want with it. I could just make a big stripe if I wanted to, or I could, like I said, bend it around. I think I'm gonna rip it a little bit so I don't have the whole thing. And I'm going to drag the bottom through my yellow paint. So it looks like that. And you can kind of change how you put it down. Ooh, I'm gonna make like it's a zigzag. It almost looks like a lightning bolt. So I'm gonna print that. I like how that came out. So maybe I'll do another one of those. Another one of these. And maybe now I'll make it into a square. And like I said, you can mix these colors because they're all warm colors. So I'm gonna dip it into the, actually this neon color. If the yellow mixes with it, it's okay. And I'm gonna make some of these squares. Or it's more like a pentagon, but that's okay. Remember, this is abstract art. It's not supposed to look like anything specific. It's just gonna look fun and bright and colorful. I feel like I need a little bit more pink on here. I don't think I did enough of my pink. So what I'm going to do, my last thing is this, remember my salsa jar. So I think I'm gonna dip that in the pink, and I'm gonna try to get the rim of my salsa container covered in the pink paint, like so. Perfect little circle there. And then I'm gonna start adding on top. And again, with all these cool layers, you might end up making some fun shapes as they mix and overlap. The colors might mix together. Like I said, that's pretty cool. And if you decide you want more of something, you can always go back and do more of it. this paint dries pretty quickly. Tempera dries very quickly, so if you finish a layer and you want to add more, that is pretty easy. You just wait a few minutes, your paint is dry, and then you can go ahead and add more. Like, I like the way my canvas looks now. I think this is a really cool piece of abstract art, but I might let it dry a bit and maybe add some more yellow. Maybe add it with the other side of my my paper towel tube. I could do that if I want. And just because I had a soda can and a salsa jar and a root beer bottle and a piece of cardboard does not mean that you have to use that. You can use whatever recycled objects you have. So you might have, let's say, an applesauce cup that you threw in your recycling, or even the cap to like a bottle of soap or something that you would use in the shower. There's tons of things that you can look for in the recycling, and as long as you give them a rinse off, you can make artwork with them. And then the best part is, like I said, this paint is washable, so I can then take my root beer bottle, my can, I can rinse the paint off of it and throw them back into the recycling. So not only am I doing something good for the earth by recycling them, I've also made a really cool piece of artwork during the process. So all you have to do at this point is wait for it to dry. If you want to be like a real artist, you can sign your name, or you can leave it anonymous. That is up to you. But this is a fun activity to do. Like I said, it's inspired by Earth Day and by doing things that are environmentally friendly, but you can really do something like this anytime. And it's a fun way to use stuff that you have usually laying around your house already. And I hope that you guys have fun with this project, because I certainly did.